Welcome to the Tuesday live design streaming sessions. Today we are talking about UX design trends. My name is Verma Henry. If you don't know me, I just got a shave. I might be looking different from the other videos. But not for long though, until it grows back. I thought, let me try something new for a change. If you're joining us, please let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. Say hello, say what's up, tell us, where you're joining us from in the world. It's my wife, she just forgot a cup of coffee there. Okay, cool. So today is our Tuesday live design streaming session. What we try and do on this one, let me just turn down the volume a little bit softer in my headphones as well. Let's see if I can turn it up a little bit more here. What we're trying to do, consistently, that we usually have our live design streaming sessions on a Thursday or Friday where we do have our main sort of like topic. So this week, later on in the week, we'll be talking about, how to build products that people actually use, right? How, if you're a startup, if you're somebody who's, looking into doing any sort of product design, especially if you're a startup, we are looking at how can you actually, build products that people will actually use. So we'll get into that on Thursday. If you're interested in learning more about UX design, whether you're somebody who's starting in UX design, somebody who's already in UX design, or even somebody who's looking to hire UX designers and just trying to understand a little bit more about how UX design and design thinking works and product design, that is the kind of stuff that we try and cover here. This show is brought to you by dobetterux.com, where we try and give you sort of like, the none of the fluff type of content that really hits the point, and we talk about the things that really matter, real life examples and things that we do. That's why we do this live streaming session, so that you can ask questions live, we can interact with people and talk about what's happening on the current level on in the world right now. Talking about the world, I hope that you're keeping safe, and things are looking a bit closer to you getting a vaccine if you're looking to get one. I'm super excited that things are looking a little bit better now that we're talking about getting vaccines and rollout of vaccines and things like that. So it's really a better time than the crazy past year that we've seen. I think we are seeing this year a little bit for the better. So talking about other things that we do here on the channel, and which are a little bit more relative to what we are doing today. So earlier on this year, in January, we kicked off sort of like a UX design trends, looking at what was relevant in January. So we looked at the state of UX design, which was a report that was written by I think it's UX design CC. They sort of do this state of UX, I think, for the past 7 years or so now. So we went through that, and we really covered some of the things that spoke about ways of working as UX designers, things that really impacted us, and really lessons learned from 2020 going into 2021. So that was a really cool thing that we went through on the channel. Personally, I felt like it was a little bit very politically infused because of the whole United States voting time. It was really that moment, after the voting, and where things started going crazy with, the United States elections, etc., etc. So personally, I felt like it was really intertwined, directed by that, talking about things like how Twitter had to put in certain design elements to their app to avoid hate speech and other things as well, as much as trying to still keep their freedom of speech policies um, pretty, out there and relevant. So things like that. So if you want to check out that episode that we did earlier on in the year, which was part one of this series, which is, this one is the part two. I think we'll do one every month just to see how the different way the UX UI trends are changing throughout the year, because people usually do annual versions of this UX design trends review once a year. And I think there's a lot of things that can change in a year, talking about different technologies and things that people can adopt, and also what designers have access to. The changing tools, like we're seeing a big shift changing from Sketch to Figma right now in the market. So all of those things sort of affect all of the design trends and things that are happening within that world. So we'll be looking at this series on a monthly event. We'll try and squeeze it in somewhere in our streaming sessions. It should be on a Tuesday, or if we continue doing the Tuesday live design streaming sessions. You might hear my baby screaming there in the background. It's the pleasures of streaming in 2021, where you can actually have kids in the background as your background music. I think I'm a little bit audible now. I can hear myself more as well in the headphones here. Please do let me know if you are having any problems with the audio. Settings keep on moving around. Anyway, let's get back to the session. So today we want to do something a little bit different, a little bit slightly different, something off, the reports and stuff. Like I looked at a couple of UX design trends reports along the internet, some really interesting ones, but I think I want to keep those as a different conversation, like the Accenture Forge one. They did a really cool interactive report there. I think I want to cover that in a different live design streaming session, because I think it talks to really the ways of working as UX designers, other than necessarily what I wanted to cover in this live design streaming session here, which is mainly the UX UI trends. So the fancy things that you see, the things that we actually interact with. We'll probably look at some interaction. So what I've done is that I've opened 3 different websites that I have looked up on the interwebs, and thought that they have nice compelling lists. I didn't go in detail in each of them. That is the purpose of this session, so that we can actually go in and dive in there and see what is happening in detail, and see if there's any similarities between the 3 of the lists that we're going to be going through today. So I'm just going to move my windows around so that I can get to share my screen with you here, just to remove any empirical evidence that you can hold me against. So the first one we're going to go through here, it's the 99 Designs report. I can see that it was done two months ago. It's about 11 minutes read, but we'll see how long it will take us to go through this. So we've got about 8 trends that we can see here. Anthropomorphic animations, advanced micro interactions, individual learning, escapism, brand transparency, live collaboration. That one, ooh, I really like that one. 90s retro UI and augmented reality, and I really like if that is becoming a trend, augmented reality, something that I've covered quite a bit on the channel when I'm talking about skills that we need to focus on as designers for the future. these are skills that will, really help us be stay relevant. Things like voice, augmented reality, virtual reality. I think they're technologies that are right at our fingertips, and it's up to us UX designers to be able to adopt those and be able to really integrate it into the everyday experiences that human beings have with the accessibility of this technology. So I think that is something that I would definitely like to see. So I have no idea what how do you
Anthropomorphic.
If you're watching this, you probably the most weirdest live stream. So that's anthropomorphic animations. Okay, so what does that mean? Relating to or characterized by anthropomorphism. Okay, so having human characteristics, bears and monkeys. Okay, so we can see some examples here of what okay, so there's a lot of humanizing of characters, I guess. I think that's what it means, as we can see here. We've got the cat, but have got really human figures with the top hat, really characters that we've seen. Here we've got birds. Okay, cool. So we have an idea of what the word means. I didn't know what the word meant. I wasn't going to continue like I know what the word meant, right? Anthropomorphic, right? Animation. So this first example is a little bit spooky for me, really. I don't know how to comment here. So what are these just like Behance pieces of work? Are they websites? Okay, so maybe as a piece of artwork that is being applied on websites, as a style that is happening. We can see with the type here. Is this on the same person's website? It looks like. Okay, so that one and that one. Again, here we see an example with flowers. I think we've got... Cool. That's really nice. Cool. So I've seen this 3D figure one quite a bit. But isn't this like just 3D characters, like normal 3D characters? This one looks so 2007, infographic type of thing. I'm not really a big fan of that type of artwork there. Are we still under the same? Okay, so humanizing the interface. That's what we're looking at here. Sort of like having, real humans, but with animations directed to it. We can see, here we've got a little bit of the phone working, and the person moving. What's happening in this one? Okay, we've got the guy moving there, the head and stuff when you're scrolling. Here we've got the 3D animation. Okay, cool. So I've seen most of this kind of work, like 3D animations with either it's full characters like this or with hands only and things like that around the interwebs. But I haven't really seen so much of this type of style of work here. This is really cool. I wish I can see more of that. That much, I'm not really a big fan of that. It looks very 2017 to me, if not 2007. I kind of like this, but so this refers to animations that mimic human movements, such as blinking eyes or doodling hands. Okay, cool. So I think, okay, cool. it'll be interesting to see how that will be used in app form. These examples show like websites and stuff. It will be really, be interesting to see how that will be used in an app website or something like that. Those type of interactions, if how they would work, to see that. So moving on to the second one is advanced micro interactions. So I guess this the next level of micro interactions. Micro interactions are basically sort of like the small little things that you see on the different interfaces, like the like button, the little pop-up. If you're using Twitter, when you hit that love button, you see a little bit of animation that goes around there. Talking about micro interactions, I don't know if this is a micro, actually let me leave it alone, but if you search for perseverance, I don't know if it's still working, you see sort of like fireworks on the page. It looks pretty cool. I don't know if that qualifies as a micro interaction, but these are advanced micro interactions. Let's see some of the examples of micro interactions, advanced micro interactions, and see how this work. So I guess there's a scroll here. It's a lot moving. It's a lot of stuff moving. So I've come across a lot of websites like this when I'm doing, website reviews, especially on websites like AWW Awards, where you see these really high-end websites with a lot of advanced micro interactions, like that Egyptian guy. I saw one with the symbol, the logo sort of like spinning around all over the website and things like that. I kind of like that because it's really transitional, right? And you can still have the normal user interface elements that you're used to, and you don't know if you should be scrolling to interact with the thing or what it is, because like you see, like here it looks like on every page scroll, you sort of like see things moving. You don't know what to look at any point. But maybe that's just me personally. I get confused quickly. But yeah, that's what I've seen with this sort of like advanced micro interactions. When they get a little bit too much, they get a little bit confusing. But these examples that we're seeing here, they're pretty cool, right? But how do you actually interact with them? So is this like when you're scrolling up or when you're touching the thing? So again, if I'm scrolling a page and it's just changing the thing, and there isn't an indicator of let's say, so I'm not sure what's happening in this one, but let's say it's going through some sort of a carousel banner or something like that, right? And I'm busy scrolling, right? And only when it gets here, it gets to the next part, and it was doing all of that stuff while I was trying to scroll. I really feel like it's not moving the page as I would expect. Like now I'm scrolling and the page is moving. So yeah, advanced micro interactions can get a little bit confusing if they're not applied mainly in the transitional areas of what you're trying to do. I'm guessing that is like the mouse pointer. You see, like you wouldn't know to click that, right, to enter. That would happen accidentally probably. It's a really cool, really cool micro interaction here. So while getting the general purpose of the design is I wish I could see how this thing looks like. Let's see if we can actually interact with it. Is it this one? It looks like this one, but how do I actually project? Do I need to be signed in here? Okay, I wish I could interact with that. I'm starting to like sign up for all these different websites so that I can, do these reviews properly and go and interact with things. Because, sometimes I have to sign in to vote or to do, something. So what are we looking at here? Whoa. Okay. I'm a big fan of this spread out sort of like font, but yeah. It's cool. That's really nice. That's nice. That's just nice sort of like animation in a banner, I think. Oh, that's really cool. The morphing of the owl to the wolf. And obviously the transition there. That's really pleasant to look at. That's like super pleasant to look at, yeah? Like especially this part. What? Alright? That is really cool. That is really cool. So yeah, I guess micro interactions is exactly what they say they are. Moving through. So web page responds like this. Nothing new in 2021. We're seeing micro interactions become a lot more macro. Okay. We've seen them definitely getting a lot more macro. That is, super macro there, like, the little detail in there. Cool. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see how we're doing with the stream here. Let's see how the health is and everything is. Okay, everything is looking cool and smooth. So we're moving on now to individual learning. Okay, I want to try and read what this is about. Designers accomplish this through individual learning. Online education has been one of the greatest benefits of the internet age, making learning a new skill to pursue, blah, blah, blah. But put back compared to traditional schooling. Okay. Motivate themselves through a step of the coursework was 2021 is moving in the front of the class to offer learning tools that actually empower students. Okay. Individual learning in which educational apps use matchmaking technology. Okay. Experience each user. This typically come in the form of a robust dashboard that makes it easier than ever. Okay, cool. So this is really talking about how the internet has created this place where we can learn, and this really talks about customizing that learning, which comes in some form of a dashboard that you can add things on and off. I'm not sure. Okay, negotiate a free coffee. Okay, so these are sort of like challenges that you can do here and see the progress guide. I think e-learning is a big part of the internet age. Definitely a big part of my career, definitely a big part of me getting into UX design and learning a lot of things. I would say that I'm self-taught when it comes to a lot of things that I've learned on the job through a lot of painful mistakes that cost me a lot of time, sometimes clients and jobs, but I think the internet has really opened that space for me where I can learn almost any and navigate my career into different things, and has also allowed me to create content like this, right, for other designers on the internet who want to learn other things as well, sharing my experiences as a UX designer, product designer, somebody who deals with client problems and different scenarios on a daily basis of how do we actually put real products in customers' hands. And all of this stuff I've learned from obviously people on the internet. It's not just like the internet is this place where you get stuff that is being generated by this big factory, right? It's actually being put together by people across the world who are interested in the same thing that you are interested in. So it's a cool thing that to see that e-learning is getting sort of like a center focus on how we can actually customize the different experiences. I wonder if all these things are on Dribbble, right? And how we can actually interact with them. That's the problem. So that's the thing about looking at UI stuff, right? It's like you can't really interact with it to see what is happening there and how it's actually tailored. But I guess in this scenario, just to try and figure out what's happening here, I think I like the fact that learning is getting a centerpiece in the main thing that the internet is being used for, and we're seeing even design trends that are being applied to be able to make that experience better. In this case, we are really seeing a trend of customization of your personal learning. It's almost like personal training, something that you would see in a fitness app, but something that is more in a learning basis, and you can customize your learning and pack things, be able to track progress, and make it easier for you to really go through the learning, right? So yeah, I guess this is really coming out because of the big work from home, learn from home, online school trend that we are seeing happening around the world, really, due to the pandemic and the thing that we are dealing with right now all over the world. Cool. So going on to the next one, we're looking at escapism. Let's see what the definition of that that they have here. This trend can express itself through organic and lush color. It is likely no coincidence that this UX trends. Okay, cool. So let's see what it is. I was hoping that I can get sort of like a high level, definition of what they mean by escapism, right? So we're seeing sort of like a place that you can interact with, right? Really mapping out the user journey. Maybe these are more sort of like linear user journeys. Trying to make it a little bit more scenic, right? As UX, this writing is crazy. UX embarks on a virtual vacation, which is to say we're seeing UX designers make exotic locations, wanderlust lifestyles a centerpiece of their layouts, installing a sense of escapism in viewers. Okay, so I guess it's just really creating these virtual areas, like we've seen with the human elements here in the first one. This one really is about landscapes and building environments and spaces that you can interact with, and not just have flat experiences, and really embedding more lifelike landscape, kind of detail in here, as you can see in these details. I don't know if this is coming from the need to just see nature, to be more human, connecting with more humans, to really spice up the way that we interact with stuff. So yeah, I think this will be a good trend that you'll probably see in the real estate type of environment. This probably will be a trend that will work in, building, architectural, wildlife type of websites, really having the scenes and the views here to really put you in those spaces and really make it, virtual. So at number 6, we have live collaboration. I was waiting to get to this one. So this is one of the main reasons why I have personally moved from using Sketch to Figma, because of the live interaction that you can have, right? You can literally see who is doing what. So let's say you're working in a design software, you can put a box there, people can edit things, you can see who is there, who is contributing, people can leave notes. You can be on a call, right, on a Zoom call, whatever you use, and you can use this as a way to really drive the conversation as you're going through, showing people examples. I think the whole, work from home thing, school from home thing has really accelerated a lot of things that we've been wanting to see in the design world for years and years to come. For a lot of years and years rather, and we're really starting to see these things being adopted by even some of the best tools that were big companies out there, and we didn't see rapid change in them, like Microsoft. We started seeing live collaboration in Microsoft tools, which this was mainly reserved for geeky things like real-time board, which is like online whiteboard spaces, or things like design tools like Figma and things like that, where we've had a lot of remote people trying to use these digital tools, even in the past, before the whole pandemic thing, and we're really starting to see a spring up, sort of like a boost of these things coming to life. For me personally, I think live collaboration is something that is great for people to use across the world. I mean, I haven't used Figma with any client, worked with them in the Figma file, so that, if you're talking about transparency, what more level of transparency would you want other than actually seeing the real time of people working? Obviously this can be used for the good and the bad, right? This can be used to be able to track if designers are working, if they are online, and if they're in the thing, right? Etc, etc. So I think all of these things have got their benefits and their pros and cons, right? I'm not sure what other examples shown here, but again, they're on Dribbble. So just looking at the UI, you can't really make it what it is, unless if they're talking about something like colors or a layout or things like that. But if they're really talking about interactions like collaboration and things like that, it's a little bit harder if it's not a detailed project, like some of those really big detailed projects you'd see on Behance and things like that. So on number 7, we're seeing 90s retro UI. I really like this 90s retro UI. I'm a big fan of Poolside FM. It's a really cool retrofitted this is like Poolside FM for iPhone. It really looks cool. It's like a player. Actually, let me go into the website and show you what I think is one of the best examples of this retro 90s retro UI. This is like an old Macintosh booting up, I think. Yeah, right. Got our glass there with a cocktail. And then there we go. Ooh. Let me just stop the music here so that we don't make noise. Okay, but we got like different things that we can interact with. It opens up mixtapes in here. You can kill the video. All right, got some mixtapes. Got the store. You can buy stuff in here. Really cool UI. Really like really cool stuff that they have here. They got their Instagram. Check out those photos. That's like, is that Tupac? Okay, I don't want to open that. But yeah, Poolside FM is a great example of this 90s retro stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff, like the example we have here with the Guide to Computing, the font, the lettering really brings that retro theme, the colors, the fashion. I think this really speaks to some of the fashion as well that we've seen coming through, coming back, making a comeback with teenagers, dressing like the 90s basically, which I think is kind of cool. And yeah, let's see. So the next one that we have here is augmented reality. So there's virtual reality and augmented reality. Augmented reality usually referred to as AR, and the other one will be VR. So augmented reality is basically all these apps, that you can literally use to create a layer on top of the real world to interact with. So good examples of AR apps are things like Pokemon Go, where you have the world and you're interacting with it and you're like hitting these Pokemons that are actually in your physical space and you can chase them around and things like that. I think I've seen another furniture type of example from companies like IKEA, where you can drop furniture like this. I'm not sure where this one is from, but this one is sort of like identifying different things, armchair, wardrobe, bed, etc., etc. So that is an example of property. This could be cool for something like an Airbnb or something like that. And augmented reality is really a cool way to interact with the world that's around you. And at the early stages of any technology, it's a little bit gimmicky. If you think about voice right now, it's really, turn off the lights, turn on the lights. The AR here will be, very limited as well, mainly labeling different parts of things, but I've seen a lot of, really cool examples as well, things like that's really cool, seeing the different pricings of the room while you're just walking through the street. I don't know if this will be able to navigate through a different field. Like I've seen things that identify different plants and tell you what the plants is, or identify different animals and tell you that that one is a dog and the other one is a cat. So you can infuse an element of machine learning, machine vision, and augmented reality in all one space, and have these different labels that come up on top of the real world. I think there's a lot that we can do in this space as UX designers and find different applications that we can actually have in the real world. but I think, yeah, that's a trend that I definitely want to see forward. I think one thing that's missing here for me personally is things around virtual reality and voice. I think those are really two big UI design trends or UX design trends that we'll be seeing over in 2020 going forward. So I wanted to go through all three of the pages that I opened, but I think we've covered a lot of ground over these 8 examples that we've seen here, and I think just to keep the content interesting and short and keep it coming, I won't go over the other ones, but if you would like to check them out, I will drop in the links over on our Do Better UX group. So we have a community over on LinkedIn. Join us there. You can have a conversation with us. We can talk about some of these design trends. You can find all the relevant links in the description section below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I think that is the main part where we are distributing this right now. So you can find all the relevant links in the description section below to our podcast, our website, design community if you want to join us to discuss more about these other events that we do, etc. So I think to wrap things up, I really like some of the things of the trends that I've seen here. The things that are really add there is virtual reality and voice. I think those are some of the things that we're really seeing affecting the world of user experience design right now, and really need more application in the real world and move it from having that gimmicky type of style of things. So I think that is what I'll add on onto the list to make it a list of 10. We had 8 there. I'll add those 2 to make it a list of 10. But I think that was a really interesting list to go through, and some interesting things that I learned what they're called, and that I didn't know. So which was really cool. So if you like this type of content and you would like to join us, please consider subscribing to the channel. That way you don't get to miss a show. Sometimes we do this sort of like ad hoc streaming sessions throughout the week. Sometimes we do 2 streaming sessions, sometimes we do a little bit more, depending on how excited we are about talking about different topics and different things that are happening that we just might want to speak about while they're happening, while they're trending, and while they're still hot. So consider subscribing to the channel if you'd like to catch us and never miss a thing going forth, and please do consider checking out some of our content. If you just go to our website or through the links below in the description, you'll be able to see some of the content that we do. Interact with us on social media and other places and stuff. So until Thursday, we'll be doing our official weekly stream. We'll be talking about building products, or designing products rather, that your customers will actually use. This talk is mainly targeted to startups. So if you're a startup or somebody who works in a startup and want to find out more about how you would apply UX design in your specific scenario or in your specific company, how to really get the return on investment and a lot of value. I understand that hiring UX designers is very tricky, and getting the value of UX design is usually even trickier. So I'll be discussing around the things that you need to look out for, and how to really use design thinking or user-centered design to build products that customers actually love and use on an everyday basis, or as intended to be used. Some products are not intended to be used on an everyday basis, right? Maybe it's a once a monthly thing, or maybe you use it and delete it. We've seen apps positioned like that. So yeah, if you're interested in that, catch us live on Thursday. If you're watching this after the fact, check out the other videos that we have on the channel. So until the next one, my name is Varema Henry. I'm your host here on Design Streaming Sessions, brought to you by DoBetterUX.com. I'll catch you in the next one, and I'm out.